Good day, I am Kimberly Cañizares and I will be reporting about the Rizal's life exile. So, from July 17, 1892 to July 31, 1896, a period of 4 years and 13 days, Jose Rizal lived the life of exile in Dapitan, the northern Mindanao, which today is part of the province of Zamboanga del Norte, near Dipolog. So, before I'll continue my discussion, let me clarify first that exile means the forced absence of that person in that certain area. So, by doing so, we have to transfer that person to another place. So, that's exactly what happened to Jose Rizal. He was exiled from Manila and was transferred or was exiled in Dapitan. So, his exile is supposed to be the darkest times of his life. But, unknowingly, it serves as the lightness of the Filipinos living there. Because aside that Jose Rizal opened their eyes towards reality, also Jose Rizal helped them in so many ways. Some of this, he created a school wherein the children can study and he taught them how to read, write, learn science and mathematics. He also helps with the fishing, with the carpentry and a lot of things that he had a knowledge of. So, Jose Rizal was 13 years by the time he was put by the Spanish colonial authorities into exile because, so these are the reasons why Jose Rizal was put into exile. First, for publishing anti-Catholic and anti-friar books and articles. So, I know that we've been aware of what books are these. Since grade 9 and grade 10 days, we've been taught and we've been instructed to read these books, namely the No Limitangere and El Filibusterismo. And as a student, I can really say that that book was anti-Catholic for the cruelness of the church, the cruelness of the priest was really presented in that book, and I can testify myself that it was indeed an anti-Catholic article. So the second one is for having in possession a bundle of handbills, the Pobres Frails, in which advocacies were in violation of the Spanish orders. So, a little information about Jose Rizal. Back when he was young, he really believes in luck. That's why he enters lottery and fortunately win an amount of 18,000 pesos. And you know what guys, 18,000 is a very big amount way back then. He gave money to his father, he gave his money to his friend in Hong Kong, and he even bought an agricultural land in Talisay. So imagine right now if he wanted to buy a lot or buy a land, 18,000 is such just a small amount. So next, third, for dedicating his novel El Filibusterismo to the three traitors, Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora. So that is why it is named Gomborza. And for emphasizing on the novel's title page that the only salvation of the Philippines was separation from the mother country, referring to Spain. So, the mother country of the Philippines way back then is the Spain. And because of the book of Jose Rizal which he published, and he opened the eyes of the Filipinos that we were controlled, we were being enslaved by the Spain. So we cannot attain our freedom if we will not separate to Spain. And the last reason is for simply criticizing the religion and aiming for its exclusion from the Filipino culture. So, you know what? By this statement, Jose Rizal was bashed by a lot, and especially for those religious people. But I understand his side. I understand Jose Rizal because by that time, the religion, or specifically the Catholic Church, was very cruel. I know that the purpose of church nowadays is to save our soul and to bring us closer to God. But way back then, church is not that, not that genuine to people. So it is very cruel and it is used to control the attitude, to control the behaviors of the Filipinos, and it is used as a tool for bad ways. So that's why I indeed understand Jose Rizal if he is not a fan of, or he disagrees with the religion, and he aims for the exclusion of it from Filipino culture. So that's it. That's the reason why Jose Rizal was exiled. So since we are done with the exile, let us now have the trial. So on this day, December 6 in 1896, the first day of Jose Rizal's trial began. So in that day, his trial began. He was charged with rebellion, sedition, and conspiracy against the Spanish colonial government in the Philippines. So Rebellion because he was involved in a kind of protest against the government as a rebel. Next, sedition. Sedition because he disobeyed the law of Spain. And lastly, the conspiracy. It is because he was involved in an illegal organization which is the La Liga Filipina, which he founded and which he proposed on. The members of some Filipinos who proposing for its freedom and against the government of the Spain. For Spain government, it is very unlawful and harmful. That's why they charge Rizal with conspiracy. His trial would conclude with a death sentence via firing squad. So they concluded that he must die in a firing squad. And the saddest part of it is those people who shooted Rizal or who shooted the bullet are Filipinos also. And the saddest part is that although they don't want to kill Rizal, but the Spanish soldiers are in their back. In case if they back out or they do not shoot, they will kill these Filipino soldiers instead. So they are ended with no choice. They don't have choice but to kill Rizal, but to shoot Rizal. And that's the saddest part of it, of our history, which we are must given value as a youth or as a Filipino citizen that was saved by that. We must give value of it by knowing their sacrifices towards the country. And it's very saddening. It is very saddening that some of the people, some of the youth did not know Rizal. But to be honest, I've known a lot of youth, a lot of people who do not know who Jose Rizal is. And it's very frightening. It's very saddening in our part that we don't know who is he. And we don't know the sacrifices he's been towards our country, because you know what, without him we would not achieve the freedom we have right now. So we must be thankful, and the only way we can do is to treasure and to value their sacrifices, not just Jose Rizal but also our other heroes in the Philippines. Okay, next. The Spanish colonial government accused Rizal of 3 crimes. So first, the founding of La Liga Filipina, an illegal organization whose single aim was to perpetrate the crime of rebellion. So that's what I said earlier, the La Liga Filipina. It was founded by Jose Rizal, and its aim is to perpetrate the crime of rebellion. So if we were just given the freedom, if we were just given the freedom to speak, to voice out, to do what we wanted, and we were given enough authority, we will not ended up with this decision, which is to create an organization against the government. It is just that it was not fair, it was biased, so that's why how it ended. Second, the rebellion which he promoted through his previous activities. So through writing the No Limitang Here and El Filibusterismo, and the minds of the Filipinos were opened, they decided also to attend the rebellion by knowing the truth. And because of that, government was threatened. That's why they accused Rizal. And lastly, the illegal association. One of these are the La Liga Filipina, and the other association that aims to the freedom of the Philippines, which considered as unlawful of the Spanish government. Earlier, Rizal was already considered as an enemy of the state by the Spanish authorities with the publication of his 2 great novels, The No Limitang Here and El Filibusterismo. So by then, he's been treated as an enemy already by the Spain because of his 2 great novels. Because we all know that the Filipinos were awakened because of that novels. For whoever reads that novels can really feel the pity. What a pity for those Filipinos who were slaved by them. So as a Filipino myself, I can feel the anger towards the Spaniards, towards the Spanish government, and I think it's normal to feel that way because it's the nationalism within us. Rizal was executed on December 30, 1896 in Bagong Bayan, Luneta, which has been renamed Rizal Park in his memory. So the Rizal Park that we know right now is once named as the Bagong Bayan or Luneta. You know what? I want to go there and see the place, and I can imagine that this is where Rizal was executed, and I wanted to feel the historical essence of it. So that's all, the exile and trial of Rizal. Hope you learned something, and hope we will be aware of the sacrifices and how we must value Rizal and its works, its sacrifices for the country. And to continue our report, which is the execution in Martyrdom, we have here Jennifer Omas.
By 6:30 in the morning of December 30, 1896, Rizal, dressed in a black suit with white fist, began his march to field of his execution in Bagumbayan, now the Luneta. From his prison fell in front Santiago. Rizal is the most famous in history in the Philippines, not because he is our national hero, but also what is the reason he died. Rizal was accompanied by his military-appointed council, old Tita Valdi Andrade and Father Stanislaw March and Jose Vilaclara. Holding a rosary in his right hand, Rizal was tied at the elbows as his group walked behind from advance guard armed with bayonets. He didn't die because he is protecting himself or his family. He died because he protects all the Filipinos. This trial of Rizal is really a mistrial. It was a big joke from the very start, and it was completely trash. If I would describe it, that I want to poke, because as I said, he died because he protects us. Rizal's family was not able to take all of his body. The military had secretly buried the body of Rizal at the Paco Cemetery. Her sister Narcisa looked for the cadaver everywhere but could not find it. She passed by the unused Paco Cemetery and saw through the open gate some civil cars. Finding this uncommon, she entered the cemetery and searched the place. She was grave his freshly turned earth and knew at once his was her brother's body. With a little money, she asked the grave digger to place a plaque on it with her brother's initial reverse, that is R.P. Chlasio Jose. That afternoon, the books, letter, and alcohol burner were delivered to Rizal's family. At the base of the alcohol burner, they found Rizal's last masterpiece, the M.I. Ultimo Adios. The copies were given to each family member, and some are to the Cavite insurgents. Narcisa requested the new government to grant her permission to exhume the body of his brother. They found out that the body was never placed in a coffin, nor even wrapped by anything. Rizal's family had possession of the body. The remains were instituted at the base of the Rizal monument, which was erected at the center of the Luneta. The trial of Rizal is the most famous in history in the Philippines, not because he is our national hero, but also what is the reason he died. He didn't die because he is protecting himself or his family. He died because he protects all the Filipinos. This trial of Rizal is really a mistrial. It was a big joke from the very start, and it was completely trash. If I would describe it, that I want to poke, because as I said, he died because he protects us. Can't he enrage me so much that I can compare those Spanish authorities at that time to wild animals possessed by evil. They were too much, and hate is not enough to describe it in words. how I feel about them. Those Spaniards really get to my nerves because if they did kill Rizal, I think he will going to free our country with their hands. He will still write many poems that in this day it will inspire us, but Rizal died because of nothing. Rizal's death was considered as an invisible episode in the Philippine history because it was not only the death of a martyr, also the birth of reforms on society, of the transformation of the lives of Filipinos. I am always fascinated that Rizal never carried any shiny weapons, but he carried with him his pen and burning passion to save and protect the 19th century of the Philippines.